Hi, I am Millet LoCasale. I am the coordinator of Youth and Young Adult Ministry for the Church of St. Katherine, Drexel in Egg Harbor Township. We are closer to the shore in Atlantic County. Today is the fifth Sunday of Lent. We've been in this journey now through Lent for quite some time and are closing in on Holy Week. I just want you to sit and reflect with me about today's gospel reading. So think about a time that, you felt dread, fear, or anxiety over something that you're afraid to go through and, there's no going around it. It could be an exam that you've been studying for and are afraid to take because it could be a make or break grade for you. Or maybe a sports game that you've been practicing for with your team that would mean championship for your school or not. Or maybe an interview with a dreaded professor or boss that could affect the rest of your future. There's no going around it, but only to go through it. Sit with that feeling of fear and anxiety for a minute. Now imagine that feeling of dread, 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times over because you're about to die. You have been given a life sentence and your death is about to happen at a particular time and date, and you just cannot run away from it. Sink with that sinking feeling for a minute. That is exactly what Jesus felt in the gospel reading today. Jesus knew his time was up. He was about to go through the hardest thing any human being could ever go through. He knew he will be experiencing some of the most excruciating pain that any human being will feel. And imagine that dread, that fear that Jesus must have felt. Being God himself, he knew what he was about to experience, but being human like us, he wasn't exempted from experiencing all the emotions associated with knowing something dreadful is about to happen to you. Sometimes we see blood and gore in movies or scary movies that we watch, and we flinch on seeing all that blood and imagine and feel the pain that is about to happen because we imagine it happening to us. Jesus knew the bloodiness of what he was about to go through. You could just imagine how much fear and anxiety Jesus must have felt, knowing what we know now and commemorate during Holy Week. Jesus said in the gospel reading today, "I am troubled now, yet what should I say? Father, save me from this hour." We know that this fear that Jesus felt continues to fester and grow inside of him at the agony of the garden when he asked and pleaded with the Father, "Please, take this cup away from me." Here we see the vulnerability of Jesus, which is the same feelings of dread and fear and anxiety that every human feeling we experience when we go through life and life throws us a curveball. Jesus was no different than us. And because of this, we can hold on to Jesus in our lowest and darkest moments. Jesus knows and feels our anxiety, our fears. And we don't have to go through them alone. Our God, who became human like us, continues to be with us in all our fears and anxieties because he lived and experienced them himself. And just as Jesus described how a grain of wheat has to die and be buried under the ground to grow, we must go through whatever pain and suffering that we are dreading and fearing to come out a better, stronger version of ourselves on the other side. Jesus had to go through his passion, his death on the cross, to bring to us the promise of the resurrection of a new life. There was no going around it. Jesus had to go through it. So just as we hold on to Jesus in our darkest moments, we hold on to the promise of coming out at the other side of this dark moment, whatever it is that we are experiencing, completely okay, completely intact, and an even better version of ourselves. As we enter the holiest of weeks in our liturgical year in a couple of weeks, let us truly be one with Jesus in his pain and his suffering. Let us carry with Jesus' cross whatever weighs us down and surrender them at the foot of the cross. Surrender them this coming Holy Week and hold on to the promise of the resurrection on Easter. Whatever it is that you are going through, especially in this tough times during the pandemic, whether it be in school, with your families, with your friends. Jesus has been through the worst, and he is going with it. Whatever you're going through with us, he's not letting go. And with that, he brings the promise of, the resurrection and hope for us that we are going to get through this, not just by ourselves, but with Jesus every step of the way. So we can hold on to that promise and not ever, ever lose hope. I hope that this reflection helped you somehow as we continue our journey this Lent and with whatever it is that you are going through. Thank you so much for listening, and have a blessed Holy Week and Easter.